Welcome to Sports Overtime. Gabriella, Patrick Walsh, we had a great week of shows here, Southeast Sports Plus.
Yeah, we broke down all the biggest sports topics with our friends from across the Nexstar Nation.
Here's the best of.
Talk a little bit about the importance of this event and how it helps you in your development as a quarterback.
So the Elite 11, it's like a very prestigious, it's probably the most prestigious quarterback fraternity you can be in. Like every NFL starter that you know has been in this Elite 11. Every high-profile college quarterback has probably been in the Elite 11. So guys from all over the country, they go to these certain regional camps and they compete to try to make it to the finals. And they'll pick the Elite 11 staff, they'll pick like 20 to 24 guys to go to the finals in California, and we'll all duke it out to try to see who will beat the Elite 11. So yeah, it's a really cool event. It can really help you get your name on the map if you're not really known. And if you are known, you can just put your skills on display.
Absolutely. You got a chance to follow KJ Lacey from a year ago. I know he was also in this camp as well. Your experience from last year to this year, it seems like your trajectory has just done this. What are some of the things that you've wanted to work on from your game from last year to this year, and then now projecting it forward now that you're in with the Sooners and what you want to do here in this final year of high school football?
For me, I feel like I got off to a really good start my junior year, following up after KJ. Really, well, in my opinion, the best quarterback to ever come through Alabama. He was phenomenal by the way he went about his work every single day at practice, the way he treated his teammates, all that. So I had some really big shoes to fill, and I'm still not done filling them. But as for this year, since I'm a senior now, I even told Coach Kelly this, my head coach, I want to make it a point to give my knowledge and the stuff I've learned over the past couple of years to the guys younger than me and to feed into them, because I'm not going to be here forever. This is my last year, like I said, and those guys, they're going to be here for more than me. So I want to feed my knowledge of what I know into them and help them get better.
Jamison, as you went through the recruitment process, you just talked about KJ Lacey, Ryan Williams, also a well-known former Saraland standout. How much did they impact your decision? Did you talk to them about, hey, I've got these schools and I'm trying to do this? Did you ask them any questions about the recruitment as you went through this process?
No, I didn't, but it's actually a running joke with me and like coaching staff at the school, and KJ, he knows this too. But as y'all know, he went to Texas and I'm committed to Oklahoma, and they're bitter rivals. So I'm gonna see him in a couple of years in the game. Hopefully we're both the starting quarterbacks by then, and we got to fly out the whole Saraland to see that one. So
yeah, there's a lot of connections from the Gulf Coast to Norman, most notably the former Senior Bowl executive director and Jim Nagy, who's now the general manager over there. Tell me a little about your relationship and just being able to have a guy that knows this area so well kind of be in your corner there and going to be able to connect your future with his in next year.
Yes, sir. Jim Nagy, he's been really helpful throughout this whole process, and he's really been an X factor, I'll have to say, to why Oklahoma was able to land me. He started this movement called Bama Sooners. And it's me right now. Well, only guys from Bama that's committed to Oklahoma is me, Jalen Scott, he plays safety at Williamson, and Trayvon Hall, he plays wide receiver at Hillcrest. It's Central Tuscaloosa, yeah, Central Tuscaloosa. So he started this movement called Bama Sooners, and it's just he's been really drilling it in our head for the past couple of months. And we all were like, yeah, let's make it happen. Like, why not? Like, why stick around here when we can go somewhere else and create a legacy for ourselves? And Jim Nagy, him just being from this area helps a lot too. I actually trained with a guy, his name's David Morris at QB Country, and him and Jim Nagy are really good friends. And just that alone, David, he's a really good guy. And I really didn't know much about Jim Nagy at first, but just from that alone, him being good friends with David, I already knew I was going into good hands when I picked Oklahoma.
Feels like to me, I think the word I saw used in the initial reporting of this was the clumsy reunion, because it feels like what happened with Coach McMahon and Coach Wade. But now it's solidified. Will Wade is back in house. How did all this land with you?
It is wild. To be honest, I didn't think it was going to happen. I felt like maybe Will Wade was getting what he wanted. I had heard rumors that he wasn't satisfied with NIL and kind of the money that they were putting into his roster. And then he came out with that press conference and was asked about the LSU job. And he was like, I'm happy they're doing what they told me they would do at NC State. You know, the job's not open, blah, blah, blah. And then I literally went on the radio Wednesday, and was like, I don't think Will Wade's ego would fit with Lane Kiffin and Kim Mulkey and Jay Johnson. And lo and behold, the news breaks. And so I was like a donkey on radio, but I mean, it won't be the first or the last. But it was one of those things. I covered Will Wade. I enjoy Will Wade. He is a Spitfire. I love his passion. He won here at LSU. I think the circumstance, and especially how everything went down, getting caught on the wiretaps. There were other coaches that were involved in all of that mess, but I feel like they just went after Will Wade and wanted him out. Scott Woodward, as we know, the former LSU athletics director, he was not going to bring Will Wade in. He's the one that fired him. He was not going to bring him back. And so all of a sudden, Scott Woodward he's out the door, and all the pieces fall together, and they bring in the former McNeese athletics director, and now Will Wade is in Baton Rouge and here last night. And so it was kind of a whirlwind. I think it's the right move, but we had heard all along that if Matt McMahon didn't do well this year, they were going after Will Wade. There was nobody else that they wanted, and I think it kind of speaks to the volume of they didn't want Wade out to begin with. Scott Woodward was the one that was pushing him out. The circumstances were weird. Everything kind of unfolded in a weird way, but it was one of those things. I felt like Will Wade didn't feel like he got the right shake at LSU, especially with how everything ended. And so I felt like he had some unsettled business that he wanted to take care of. I love the fact that on the press release, he said, I wanted to come home. He's not from here, but the state of Louisiana, and I've told y'all this before, if you love LSU and you embrace the culture and you embrace the craziness that is LSU fans, they will love you back. And Will Wade fits that mold. He's not scared to be a villain. He's not scared to tell you how it is. And that's kind of how it is in the state of Louisiana. People are friendly and hospitable, and they're going to feed you and they're going to love you. They're also going to tell you when you suck, and they're also going to pat you on the back when you win. And I think Will Wade fits that mold and that character here, and I think he was successful now, especially with the backing and having his people in place that came over from McNeese. I think we will be talking about LSU being in a March Madness, which they have not been since Will Wade.
Yeah, Chessie, you just illustrated very beautifully all the drama that has surrounded this hire, and that is Will Wade. I want you to kind of paint the picture for us of how LSU and the fan base and everybody down in Baton Rouge is feeling now. Is there positivity around what is to come for this LSU basketball team?
Oh, absolutely. And we don't even know his coaching staff yet. We don't know his roster. We don't know anything. But it was the simple fact of LSU Athletics administration was like, you know what? We're putting it all on the line, and that is our guy. And I think the fan base has rallied around that because I understand all of the perspective from the national media, like, well, Wade's such a villain, and he's a scumbag, and he's this, and he's that. He was doing everything that every other coach in the country does, and that was paying players when it wasn't legal. Now 100%. It is legal, and so now you're giving him the upper hand of, okay, we can do this for real now. So the fan base is ecstatic. There are billboards galore in Baton Rouge now with Will Wade, which makes me laugh so hard because, again, I'm from Louisiana, but they love them some billboards, and they wasted no time putting the billboards up. I'm glad because it takes away from all of the, if you get into a car wreck, call so-and-so lawyer. So we're going to get more Will Wade. I'm all about that life.
Noah, it seemed like throughout this entire tournament run, teams would just game plan to take Dalen Swain out of the game and basically make all of the other Texas players go ahead and beat you. And that kind of didn't work out, partially because Modest Vokatitis was so good during those first few games. Were you a little bit surprised that he had kind of a quiet night last night against Purdue?
Yes and no. I mean, Purdue, as annoying as they are, is historically great against playing bigs. You know, that's because they've had some very good bigs in their time. Guys like Edey and back in my day, Isaac Haas as well. But Matt Painter knows how to use a large fella and defend a large fella as well. So, like, that's something Purdue has been able to do for a long time. Vokatitis' free throw struggles were pretty immense. I mean, last night I think they would have won. I forget the exact score, but in the final minute or two, Vokatitis Boyka Titus was at the line. Texas had momentum. It was after an inbounds play where I was surprised. Texas, the play was to throw it straight to Boyka Titus, and then he was going to feed Pope or somebody on the outside. But as soon as the ball touched Boyka Titus' hand, Purdue smartly fouled him. If he made at least one of his free throws, I think Texas wins that game. He didn't. I mean, they almost lost earlier in the tournament when he missed 8 free throws.
BYU.
In the second half. So yeah, I mean, but still, even after that game, Sean Miller said he thinks that was the best game Modest Boyka Titus played in a Texas uniform. So if they can get him back, he did make immense strides this season. I was a bit surprised, yes, at some of his inefficiencies a night ago, but overall, I think he had a really strong tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you highlighted this really well, and it took me a second after you said it for me to think about it, but you're right. There are certain teams that have a nice little postseason run, and then it does not, bleed into the next year, and then the coaches get fired. We always seemingly see a team that goes from the first 4 to at least the Sweet 16, if not the Elite 8. We've seen Final 4. What, if anything, does carry over into next year for Sean Miller and company?
It depends on who they're able to bring back, right? So I think Boyka Titus can bring back some confidence. He said after they beat Gonzaga, not that he's in like a braggadocious way. There was nothing wrong with him saying this, and I think you have to think this way. He's like, I think I'm the best big man in the country. So I think he was able to gain some confidence from this. To play on this stage is massive. And as Patrick was saying, a lot of the game plan was to maybe limit Dalen Swain a little bit. I think last night late, he started to show some aggressiveness.
Stay with us here on Sports Overtime. Much more to come.
Yes, and remember, you can watch our show, Southeast Sports Plus, Monday to Friday from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock on the free WKRG Plus app.
You can download the app on your Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, and Samsung TV device.
Welcome back into Sports Overtime, and Gerhard with the Masters just around the corner. We've been enjoying lots of local golf.
Yeah, great local golf here. We've had the Snedeker Memorial Tournament, the Light Scratch Tour on deck. No better person to talk to about local golf than our golf expert and good friend. We call him JR. Here's John Verchetti.
We're going to have a 4-ball this year, one-day 4-ball, which is new this year. It's going to be at Rock Creek in the middle of April. Obviously, the Metro Championship and then the Miller Masters will have, and just also, golf has continued to boom around here. As we talked earlier, there's 3 new golf courses opening up here within the year on the Gulf Coast. And, the one here in Point Clear, the Point Clear Club, which is a Tom Fazio golf club, which is going to be a national club, which is going to be absolutely spectacular golf course. I've been fortunate enough to tour the facility and so forth as they're building it as we speak. And it's going to be a top shelf a club right here in Mobile, Baldwin County, which will be great for the folks who are fortunate enough to join. There's a lot of great equipment out there. I think that the Callaway, the new Quantum driver that they've come out now with Callaway I think it's the best one I've hit so far of all the years that I've been hitting the Callaway club. I think the new Quantum equipment is second to none, and I encourage you to get out there and give it a shot, get fit for it, and see your local PGA Pro. High school golf is kicked off now, and I know we got a lot of teams throughout Mobile, Baldwin County playing in the high school season, and I continue to see kids and younger kids at a younger age starting golf now. I see young kids 4, 5, 6 years old on the driving range. I think the game itself is in a great spot, and it just continues to prosper. We've got to just keep on promoting the game here on the Gulf Coast.
And now that the season is over, I honestly think it's a great year one for our new head coach to be going into the tournament, get a NCAA tournament win. What'd you make there of Bucky Ball? Let's do the first game first, and then before you break down the season ender.
Yeah, I think initially when I first got the taste of Bucky Ball, I thought that this is just a completely different style of basketball than I ever have seen in my life. I think it was just, you don't really see that press for the whole game, for the full 40 minutes, and then flying up and down the court, just really getting as many shots as you can, because the more shots you take, the more shots you can make.
Right.
And I think that kind of came as a surprise, but also I had not seen a lot of Bucky Ball, and I think a lot of the SEC hadn't seen Bucky Ball heading into this. So then when you go to the end of the season and Houston, we talk about dissecting Bucky Ball, I mean, that's exactly what Kelvin Sampson and Houston did. I think it just really, it was a tough ending to like you said, a good year one under this system. And I think that's something that Aggie fans will be happy to take away from this season, is making the NCAA tournament. I think that was the ceiling for this team. And then to go out and win a game against St. Mary's, that it's just all icing on the cake after that. You're kind of playing with house money. So I think you should be proud if you were this team for buckyball. And then obviously now they got to go hit the transfer portal again to replace some of those seniors.
Yeah, like you said, looking at the big picture of this team, they really performed pretty well this season. They were 22-12, 11-7 in SEC play, and then got the 10 seed in the tournament. So obviously, if you're a Texas A&M fan, you probably are going to be pretty happy with that. But for you, looking at this team, how would you grade where they ended the season this year?
Yeah, I think they started out SEC play really hot, and that's somewhere where maybe that grade dips down a little bit. You know, you'd probably put the overall season at like an A-, B+, somewhere around there, because I don't think a lot of people, you see the graphic that came out, they tied for fourth in the SEC in regular season, but they were picked to finish 13th. So I think in terms of exceeding expectations, they did that. It's just more of they didn't sustain the level that they started SEC play with. And I think that teams started to figure out, okay, maybe this is how we go about defending this style of play. But they also showed that you can't underestimate it, and that was shown in the first round of the NCAA tournament. So overall, I'd say probably a B+ is where I'd put things at.
Stay with us here on Sports Overtime. Much more to come.
Yes, and remember, you can watch our show, Southeast Sports Plus, Monday to Friday from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock on the free WKRG Plus app.
You can download the app on your Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, and Samsung TV device. One of the big storylines is the fact that Arkansas obviously just played in Portland, decided to stay out west. Do you like that decision? And if so, why?
Yes, because I love that decision, and there's a good reason for that. Malik Ewan, after that game against High Point, he almost couldn't answer any questions. He was like this.
I think we played the sound on Monday.
Put that on the show.
Yeah, did you play that sound? Okay. Because he was like tired. And I think it was our Brenna Green who was over there doing great coverage for us over there. And she asked her, "You a little tired?" He was like, no. Well, the time changed. The time changes a little, and we just played a tough game. So for me, I think that's great, because now they've had another few days from Sunday to today to get used to that time zone, to get used to, okay, we are in a different time zone, we're in a different part of the country, and so I think they needed that. I got a little nervous when I saw Malik have that reaction in the post game, and going, you could tell this team was tired. Not only that, Patrick, but you bring up another point. If they don't have Nick Pringle, Arizona plays an 8-man rotation. Yeah, 8-man. Right. And all talented. It's not like they're like bringing guys off that aren't as talented. Talented 8-man rotation. Arkansas right now has 6, maybe 7 if you bring Nick Pringle back. They just don't have depth. And so that's another thing. If Arizona if they go, hey, we're good early on, we're fine, we can wear Arkansas down, because they don't have the depth to keep up with us. I'm sorry, Gabrielle, you're laughing, but
No.
Courtney, I can't handle.
He loves it.
I can't handle the way that Gerhard's looking at me right now, because he has Arizona. So if he wins this game, it's over for me, Courtney. So you're not giving me any hope.
No, I'll give you a peek behind the curtain specifically when you said that, because it sounded majestic, it sounded poetic, it sounded beautiful, like it was coming from the pages of a Shakespeare novel. Because the reason why I looked at her the way that I did is because I've been saying this entire time, Arizona has depth, and Arkansas's lack of depth really scares me. And then I said it maybe for the third time, this girl goes, "You've only mentioned on the show 12,000 times about their depth." So it's kind of like, when your parents tell you something a million times, but then your coach tells you and you hear it a little differently, you're the coach in this equation. You were the person saying the exact same thing I was saying
That is
differently,
so true.
but from a fresh brand.
But to be fair, you've been saying that since the start of the tournament. You didn't have Arkansas even making it this far.
Yes.
And they have.
And there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, he's a hater.
Dicey there. It got dicey there. Gerhard was almost correct in not having them go this far. It was
But
dicey
what happened at the end of the day? They won.
Because Darius Acuff is not human.
That's our show tonight. Thank you so much for joining us for Sports Overtime.
And remember, you can watch our show, Southeast Sports Plus, weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m.
Good night.